Food do you eat? You say soul food? Was that the food of African people? Slave food. The food that we find most satisfying. The food that we find that sticks to our ribs. The food that we call down home. A food that we learn to eat in the quarters. And yet we dare say that we have escaped slavery. What kind of food do you eat? You say soul food? Was that the food of African people? Slave food. What kind of food do you eat? You say soul food? Was that the food of African people? Slave food. What kind of food do you eat? You say soul food? Was that the food of African people?
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? This is the Monday Mindset, the Health Mindset. I'm Damon K. Jones. For everybody's watching, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you. Today, we're going to talk about detaching ourselves to improve self-love. And I think, as we grow up and we understand the importance of mental health, it is clear that some days we will have to detach ourselves. Some days we will have to detach ourselves from certain people and situations and places to preserve our mental clarity and show self-love to ourselves. So first, I like to say, man, for everybody that's watching, I like to give my condolence to Don Powell and Don Powell family for the passing of Don Powell. Man, I'm sending my blessings to him. He was one of the original Fly Guys from back in the day, and he was a mentor. He was one of the first brothers that I saw that was talking about owning businesses and being promoters and helping Black people. So for him to pass away, it's very, I'm kind of upset because that was a very good brother. And he meant a lot to a lot of people. And he set the standard for wanting to help people, man. Like, life is about service. It's not about acquiring things, and I think once we understand that life is about service, it will be easier for us to live our lives. We are programmed to acquire things, right? We are programmed to get a good job and acquire a home and acquire a car. We're programmed to that, but we're not programmed to serve the people that's within our circles and serve the community. So, I just wanted to say that that brother, Don Powell, was a brother of service, and he's going to be missed. And I will definitely post the last interview he did with Black Westchester Magazine, which I am the publisher of Black Westchester Magazine, where he was talking about uh, Black people owning businesses and being in their community. So peace and blessings to the Powell family, man, and brother Don, you will be missed. So let's get into what is self-love, right? Self-love is defined as accepting and valuing and nurturing oneself. It is vital for overall well-being and personal growth. That's right. That's right. Life service is self-service too. So, but however, self-love is essential to acknowledge we must acknowledge various historical and social cultural factors that have contributed to the complex dynamics surrounding self-love within the Black community and with Black people. The goal of this show, right, is to shed light on some of the significant cultural factors that have influenced the lack of self-love among Black people and explore potential avenues of fostering self-love with ourselves and within our community. Both white American culture and our modern broken Black culture have actively promoted negative self-images and negative self-love. At the same time, these cultures create certain societal pressures and ideals that have distorted our relationship with ourselves, our relationship with each other, and relationships between Black men and women, which has had a negative effect in how we love ourselves. So let's look at some of the ways that American culture and Black culture has had a detrimental effect on Black people's self-love. Number one, the absence of spirituality in our society. You say, Brother Damon, how is there an absence? There is an absence. If you look in our communities, high crime, people killing each other, there is an absence of spirituality. There's not an absence of religion, because any Black community will have 20, 30, 40, 60, 100 churches and houses of worship. It's not an absence of religion, it's an absence of spirituality. There's a difference. There have been a significant drop in the level of spiritual awareness in contemporary Black culture. There are fewer groups of men and women gathering together to discuss the significance of spirituality, but instead there are more men and women attending Sunday brunch rather than Sunday service. The higher incidence of depression in the Black community, the high incidence of anxiety in the Black community is an example of the lack of affiliation to spirituality and connecting to your spirituality, and a commitment to a belief system that help make sense of traumatic experiences and challenges in life circumstances. Number two, unrealistic beauty standards. When you have unrealistic beauty standards, sometimes you get a lack of self-love. In the Black culture, and especially where Black women have fallen victim to the narrow and unrealistic beauty standards, primarily through media advertising. You have to be skinny, you have to look a certain way, you have to wear certain size heels, right? You have to have a certain size body. That's why a lot of our sisters are going to DR and these different places and getting the number 19 BBL, right? Because society is saying that your body has to look a certain way. And those are unrealistic beauty standards, right? These emphasis on physical appearance and body shape and youthfulness can lead to a feeling of inadequacy and low self-esteem. You see a lot of young girls are going into depression because they feel they don't meet the beauty standards that they see on social media. And they're committing suicide. So that's a way to damper and kill your self-love. Another thing is materialism and consumerism. We all been victim of materialism and consumerism if you're in the Black community. The Black American culture tends to place great emphasis on material possessions, wealth, and success. This focus on external markers of success can lead to individuals to measure their self-worth based on their worldly achievements rather than on their intrinsic qualities of personal growth. And those who fall short of that experience of experience a failure and a lack of self-love. And as we talked earlier, number 4 is social media. The rise of social media has a significant impact of self-esteem and self-love in the Black community. The pressure to maintain an ideal online image can contribute to a diminished sense of self-worth. So the social media platforms often present carefully culturally highlight reels of people's lives, leading to constant comparison. That's why you see a lot of people, they take pictures when they're out eating, they take pictures when they're doing this, they take pictures when they're doing that, because they want to create a sense of worth. I'm at this type of restaurant. I'm at that type of restaurant. I'm walking in with the latest gear. And when people are not able to do that, sometimes they don't feel worthy of that. And and social media is one of the biggest reasons young people, are falling into depression and having anxiety because they don't feel that they're living up to social standards. What else? In the Black community, we have a stigma around mental health. Despite the progress in recent years, the Black culture still carries a stigma surrounding mental health. This stigma can discourage individuals from seeking help, leading to the internalization of negative emotions and lack of self-compassion. We must address these stigma and promote mental health awareness. It's essential in the Black community. Big shout out um, to the brothers and sisters that did the African American Festival this past yesterday at the Kensico Dam in Westchester County. I want to thank them I was one of the number of honorees who were out here talking about mental health in the Black community. And I want to thank them for, sometimes it's always great to get your flowers while you're living, and I thank people for that. And it was a great day, and it's good that we are in the Black community. We are starting to talk about uh, mental health more. We're starting to talk about the need for us to go to therapy, seek some type of counseling, because number 7 is definitely something that majority of us sometimes face, is the pressure to conform. The American culture is built on conformity and can place pressure on individuals to fit in societal norms and expectations. Unfortunately for Black people, to rise the corporate ladder and feel accepted in their job, they usually conform to the norms and values of the workplace culture. I think a lot of us have been victims of it. A lot of us has pushed back from it and been outcast by those that we work with. The pressure to conform can inhibit self-expression and authentic self-acceptance. As individuals, we fear judgment or rejection for devastating to be from the norm. This can hinder the development of self-love based on one's true identity. Not everybody is strong to give the workplace norm the middle finger. Some people fall victim to it. You know, personally, I've been on the outside a lot. I never cared because I understood my self-worth. And I understood that was a job. And I understood the love for my people. You know, I got called many names, but it's cool. I never let that bother me. I always detached myself. Detachment may be essential for a healthy-minded Black person to develop self-love in any circumstances like this. Individuals can free themselves from detrimental influence and build stronger relationships with themselves if they engage in detachment. This segment, we're going to examine how detachment may increase self-love and present practical techniques for implementing those ideas. We also are going to provide some background information on the concept. Yes, you're absolutely right. Now, for y'all watching me, you see me looking down. I'm not just live on YouTube, Facebook, and I'm also live on Instagram. And yes. So I'm looking everywhere. So if you see me look down, I'm live on Instagram also. Yes. It's good to have everybody. Detachment is a context of self-love. I'm going to say that again. Detachment is a context of self-love. Refers to generating emotional distance from external circumstances and views. It does not indicate an indifference or apathy. Instead, it means letting go of unhealthy attachments and detangling oneself of self-worth from the affirmation one receives from outside world. So I'm going to say it again. It does not indicate an indifference or apathy. Instead, it means letting go of unhealthy attachments and detangling one's sense of self from the affirmation one receives from the outside world. That means stepping out on your own. That means not worrying about what people think about you, right? That means having a belief in yourself. So this enables the individual to retain a sense of inner calm, self-acceptance, regardless of the external elements in their lives. Exactly. So what are thank you. What are the advantages of self-love? We're going to go through the advantages of self-love acquired through detachment. First thing is it's going to do is going to enhance self-acceptance. I'm going to say that again. It's going to enhance self-acceptance. Detachment enables individuals to accept themselves without condition, free from the need for validation from other people or the outside world. It is possible to establish a connection with oneself that is more genuine and gratifying if one frees themselves of the pressure of seeking acceptance from other people. Okay. What are the other advantages of detachment? Another advantage of detachment is emotional stability. Detachment helps establish emotional stability by limiting dependency on external conditions for happiness and well-being. By separating oneself from the results of one's actions, one may regard one's setbacks as failure, as a learning experience rather than a personal reflections of one's value. This is how emotional resilience is built. What else? Sound like the grandbabies are home. Freedom of comparison. Individuals can liberate themselves from the damaging cycle of comparison when they develop a sense of detachment. Detached people don't continually judge their success by comparing it to others. Instead, they concentrate on their development and advancement, which helps them develop self-comparison and self-appreciation. You shouldn't base yourself on others. You should try to be better than the person you was yesterday, not someone that you see on TV, not someone that is doing whatever they're doing. You should you should compare yourself to yourself. That's your biggest competition. What are the other advantages? Spiritual awareness. If you place your attention on cultivating a strong spiritual connection, you will have a heightened sense of purpose as well as serenity, hope, and meaning in your life. You may find that you have more self control, self esteem, and confidence when you do this. It can assist you in deciphering the meaning behind the events that have transpired in your life. When you're feeling under the weather, it might give you a sense of inner fortitude to lead to a speedier recovery. It's also great, as I say on different occasions, we must eat clean, pray, meditate, and exercise. So, what are some of the methods or for improving self-love through practice and detachments? The practice of mindfulness helps one become more aware of their thoughts, feeling, and the attachments they have been through in their life. People can free themselves from the shackles of their attachments and get a new point of view when they observe them without judgment. Developing this skill can be aided by practicing mindfulness meditation and breathing exercise regularly. You could also do a self assessment and internal validation rather than seeking affirmations from others. A feeling of self worth is not dependent on the opinion and actions of others, can be developed via auditing one's internal resources, formulating objectives with one core's beliefs, and recognizing one's progress. It's always good to do a self-audit. Self-audit is great. It's no different than looking and examining what you're doing. Not worried about what the next parent is doing, examining yourself. What areas you need to improve in to live the life you want to live. Another thing, we must let go of perfectionism. When we let go of perfectionism, it requires accepting one's flaws and accepting that one's sense of worth is independent of how flawlessly one presents themselves. Individuals that can let go of their desire to be flawless and accept themselves with warmth and compassion, when they accept these errors as chances for development and self-improvement, everything you go through is a learning experience. We look at our flaws as a learning experience. If you do a self-audit and one of your flaws is that you're trying to be a public speaker and you're not good at public speaking, then go on YouTube or take public speaking classes. These is how you do self-audits. Because we're talking about, self-love is part of the building blocks for success. Now, I'm not saying that people that don't love themselves, that don't have a sense of self-love, are not successful, but they're not in peace with themselves. You could be successful and depressed. You could be successful and unhappy. You could have those things. But we're talking about how do you improve your self-love for success? Another thing is to establish boundaries. And detachment, when you just establish boundaries, some people are not used to boundaries. Some people grew up with their whole lives without any type of boundaries. But you must set sound boundaries between yourself and others. Individuals may protect their emotional well-being and stop negative external influences by affecting their personal perception if they recognize and respect their boundaries and set appropriate boundaries with others. So set boundaries. Set boundaries to protect yourself. In my book, The Strategies of Self, I talk about self-defense. And part of self-defense is not always physical, is setting boundaries. Is a defense strategy for yourself, to protect yourself. Last is engaging in activities that support your physical, mental, and emotional well-being is a powerful way to practice detachment and self-love. Self-care involves in engaging in activities supporting your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. When one needs to strengthen their connection with themselves, it may be accomplished by prioritizing self-care routines, engaging in hobbies, and spending time in nature or seeking help from a professional. Black people don't like to go to therapy. but therapy is very good. One of my mentors used to always say, when you go to a real successful person's house, right? You go to a party or something. There's three people he's going to introduce you to. He's going to introduce you to his religious person, his spiritual person, his lawyer, and his family therapist. Those are the three people. But in the Black community, we have fallen. We don't look at therapy, but we should, because our community is being, especially Black men, the suicide of Black men has risen at an alarming rate, and which, we're not even having conversations about it. So the goal of self-love is to make a concentrated effort to remove oneself from judgments of others, and have a culture within yourself of self-acceptance, emotional resilience, and independence from comparison by engaging detachment. And I go back to the book, Strategies of Self-Defense, and pushing away, and because sometimes, when you're engaging in detachment, and you have to just, you can't babysit other people's demons and toxicity. You can't do that, because you're definitely not loving yourself if you're babysitting other people's demons and toxicity. And some of us do it because we have friends that been around us for years, and we engage in those type of babysitting, and we know it's toxic. We know it's toxic. We know what they're doing is toxic, but we babysit their toxic bullshit, which we shouldn't. In order to keep ourselves healthy, we shouldn't. So that is the segment. I want to thank everybody that is watching on the different platforms. And if you want to, definitely go to blackwestchester.com. The category is the health mindset. This article that I wrote about detachment is up there, and other articles. And thank you for coming on to Monday Motivation. Thank you for coming on to Monday Motivation. We'll be here every Monday. Every Monday we'll be here. And don't forget, I don't believe I even put it up. Let me see if I have it. Don't forget, on July 8th, 2023, my brother Dr. Cedric be doing a book signing, and we'll be having a great conversation about health and wellness. And his book, definitely come learn to restore and renew and rebuild. This is his book here. This is his book here for all y'all. The 7 Steps to Prevent Chronic Disease. This is a great book. This is a great book to get. And he will be at the Mount Vernon Library. He'll be at the Mount Vernon Library July 8th. Come and get questions, and especially if you have any chronic illnesses, even if you're obese, even if you're a little overweight, come and partake in the conversation with my brother, Dr. Cedric. He's a wealth of information. Um, and we're going to have a great conversation. So if you are Mount Vernon next week, on the 8th, July 8th, Saturday, July 8th, come and hear Dr. Cedric, the 7 steps to prevent chronic disease. Chronic diseases are rampant in the Black community. They're rampant in families. I've been fighting high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, and I've taken it into my own hands. And I believe that our kitchen is our medicine cabinet. And if you have any of those things, if you're overweight, if you have a chronic illness, and you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not doing things in your life to better what you're doing, then you're being selfish. See, because you end up with diabetes, you have to get your leg amputated and all this other crazy stuff, and then somebody that's going to have to take care of you. And that's being selfish. When the only thing you have to do is change your eating lifestyle, exercise, pray, lose weight, and all of it will go down. Guaranteed. Guaranteed it will all go down. So that's it. That's it. And I want to thank everybody. Thanks people that's watching on Instagram. I see my man AJ Woodson. Peace and blessings. Thank you, Eugene. Thank you, Eugene, on LinkedIn. And thank you, Tina. Thank you, Cicely, on YouTube. Thank you, all the people that's watching on the different platforms. We're about to get out of here. Peace out. God is in your vegetables. And I'll see y'all next week. And I'm not sure what we're going to talk about, but just follow. If you're on Facebook, go to the group, The Health Mindset, and it'll be up what we're going to talk about next week. Peace and blessings. Now,
What kind of food do you eat? You say soul food? Was that the food of African people? Slave food. The food that we find most satisfying. The food that we find that sticks to our ribs. The food that we call down home. A food that we learn to eat in the quarters. And yet we dare say that we have escaped slavery. What kind of food do you eat? You say soul food? Was that the food of African people? Slave food. What kind of food do you eat? You say soul food? Was that the food of African people? Slave food.